Anna Kendrick has reportedly exposed Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds after their recent Instagram story, claiming the post was actually intended to mock Justin Baldoni and adding a surprising new twist to the ongoing Hollywood drama.
I think that they're in such a state of like this kind of toddler-esque terror that they're just like, no, I'm in a bad situation and I don't want to feel bad. This feels so bad that I'm allowed to do whatever I have to do because this feeling is so bad and I'm such a victim here.
When Anna Kendrick stepped onto the red carpet for her movie premiere, everyone expected the usual polished press event routine, with the cast exchanging compliments and pretending everything was perfect. But this time, things took an unexpected turn. When a reporter asked Anna what it was like working with Blake Lively, most people expected the typical positive response. Instead, Anna appeared to take a very different approach, leaving viewers wondering whether there was more behind her reaction than she was willing to say publicly.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
Just like that, no praise, no enthusiasm, nothing but a strangely cold response. To some viewers, it felt like Anna was quietly confirming every rumor they had heard about Blake Lively's behavior. But this moment may have been about much more than Anna simply refusing to compliment her former co-star. After all, she had known Blake for years, ever since they worked together on a simple favor. And according to the story being circulated online, Anna may have seen more behind the scenes than the public ever realized. Now, that has fueled speculation that she could eventually shed light on the alleged tensions surrounding Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni, and on claims that there was a much deeper strategy at play than anyone initially understood.
I don't even think they're doing it on purpose.
No, you're right.
It's just happening subconsciously.
No, like those little are fully learning off of this episode, being like, don't say this, do this. No, you're right. You're right. They're taking notes. Like, they're not idiots.
The Instagram posts that everyone assumed were simply cute updates from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds may have had a much more calculated purpose, at least according to the speculation surrounding the situation. What looked like harmless couple content could allegedly have been designed to mock Justin Baldoni while preserving their image as the carefree, innocent Hollywood couple. Take Ryan's fitness photos, for example. Millions of likes, endless comments about his physique, and captions that seemed completely ordinary on the surface. But critics now argue that the timing, wording, hashtags, and overall presentation may have carried a deeper message. While Blake and Ryan appeared to be simply sharing their lives with fans, some believe those posts were part of a carefully constructed public image strategy aimed at keeping the spotlight on Baldoni and turning the online narrative in their favor.
It surprises me after they've been through this whole drama and there's been so much scrutiny on their marriage that you would then put these out there for people to judge. And especially when you've been called tone deaf.
Anna Kendrick had reportedly been close enough to the situation to understand what Blake Lively was like away from the cameras, and when she finally appeared to address the situation, her words were interpreted by some as a sign that the carefully polished image surrounding Blake and Ryan was beginning to crack. Rather than offering a simple Hollywood compliment, her reaction fueled speculation that there was more happening behind the scenes than the public had been told. To those watching the drama unfold, it felt as though the picture-perfect world Blake and Ryan had built was already showing cracks. They simply hadn't publicly acknowledged them yet.
I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah.
Blake Lively posted a picture of Ryan Reynolds that sent her fans into a frenzy, with many praising her for the bold way she was talking about her husband. But according to online speculation, the real message may have been hidden in the caption and song choice. The word delicious, paired with Justin Bieber's yummy playing in the background, was interpreted by some as a deliberate callback to earlier messages involving Justin Baldoni. On the surface, it looked like Blake was simply being playful and affectionate toward her husband, and the media largely treated it that way. But then another detail caught people's attention. The photo of Ryan in the tank top appeared to have been taken much earlier than the date it was posted. The same outfit, including the tank top, pants, and bracelet, was reportedly visible in photos from May 2023. That discovery fueled a much bigger theory online, that the image may have been saved and later repurposed at a strategically convenient moment to redirect public attention. Whether that was intentional or simply a coincidence remains unconfirmed, but the timing has certainly given the internet plenty to talk about.
They have a history, apparently, of mocking Baldoni for his biceps.
She wants you to know her husband has yummy arms.
When you look closely at the timeline, it starts to feel like there was more going on than just a single Instagram post. According to the allegations and online theories surrounding the situation, whenever negative attention began building around Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds, new content would appear that could redirect public focus and dominate social media algorithms. To understand why some people believe this was calculated, the timeline takes us back to May and June 2023, when production on It Ends With Us began. At the time, Blake appeared publicly to be maintaining a professional relationship with Justin Baldoni, but reports and later allegations described growing tension behind the scenes. By May 26th, Baldoni reportedly reached out to Blake in an attempt to ease those tensions and improve the working relationship. The following day, Blake called in sick, causing production to pause and potentially creating significant financial and scheduling complications. Yet during that same period, she reportedly contacted a Sony executive to raise concerns about Baldoni, including an alleged comment involving her character's wardrobe. Then comes the detail that has fueled even more online speculation. The Ryan Reynolds photo that later became part of the social media discussion was reportedly taken on May 29, 2023. That has led some observers to connect the image to the broader timeline, particularly because Ryan appeared in the same white tank top and jewelry combination that would later feature in the Instagram post. The coincidence has become a major talking point online, with critics questioning whether the photo was simply an old personal picture or whether it was deliberately saved for a future moment when Blake and Ryan needed to redirect public attention. There is no confirmed evidence that the image was actually planned as part of a media strategy, but the timing has certainly added another layer to the controversy.
These texts do not work in Blake Lively's favor, okay? They really, really do not.
According to the theories circulating online, mocking another Hollywood figure, especially someone as prominent as Justin Baldoni, would require others to do the work while the people at the center of the alleged strategy kept their distance. In this version of the story, Ryan Reynolds supposedly found an unexpected ally in Aaron Reed. What makes the claim more intriguing is Reed's reported history with Baldoni. Before becoming associated with Reynolds and appearing in several of his projects, Reed had reportedly worked with Baldoni years earlier, including a 2019 guest appearance on Jane the Virgin, where Baldoni was both a major cast member and frequent director. That prior professional connection has led some observers to question whether Reed's later association with Reynolds had any deeper significance. After Reed became involved in multiple Reynolds projects and reportedly grew close to him, some online commentators began interpreting his social media activity through the lens of the Baldoni controversy. One example frequently discussed is an old 2019 photo of Reed and Baldoni from Jane the Virgin that was reportedly posted and later deleted. While there is no confirmed evidence that the post was intended as a warning or part of any coordinated campaign, its timing has fueled speculation among people following the legal dispute. The theory becomes even more elaborate when fans connect these social media moments to scenes from It Ends With Us. In one sequence, Baldoni's character was required to interact physically with Blake Lively's character, and some online commentators have attempted to interpret those scenes as part of a much larger behind-the-scenes conflict. However, the available claims and theories should be treated carefully because there is no verified evidence establishing that Reynolds, Reed, or anyone else coordinated a campaign to target Baldoni. Baldoni's character had to lift Blake Lively's character in one of the scenes, and this is where the situation reportedly became more complicated. Baldoni has publicly discussed having back issues, and according to the allegations surrounding the production, he wanted to make sure he could safely perform the lift without aggravating an existing injury. He therefore reportedly asked his trainer about Blake's expected weight at the time of filming. On the surface, that could be viewed as a practical safety concern for an actor performing a physically demanding scene. However, the situation allegedly became a source of tension after the issue was discussed in private messages involving Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their circle of friends. In one message that has been cited in coverage of the dispute, Blake reportedly wrote that her director had contacted her trainer to ask what she would weigh in 2 weeks because he was concerned about his back and bone density. The message was later interpreted very differently by the people involved, with some viewing it as a legitimate concern about a physically demanding scene and others seeing it as an inappropriate comment about Blake's body. That is where Ryan Reynolds reportedly entered the conversation. His reaction to Blake's message became another point of controversy, and the contents of the private exchange have since fueled competing narratives about what actually happened behind the scenes. Rather than proving a coordinated campaign against Baldoni, the messages show how quickly a seemingly practical production concern could become part of the much larger conflict surrounding the film.
Ryan says, right? I've never seen anything like it. A malignantly vain, sociopathic feminist with almost no sense of boundaries or shame. I cannot believe he hasn't gone to jail or returned to the sun.
According to the theories circulating online, Ryan Reynolds realized that simply putting pressure on Justin Baldoni through Hollywood connections would not be enough, so the alleged strategy went much further, toward overshadowing the ideas and public identity Baldoni had spent years building. Baldoni has positioned himself as a prominent voice in conversations about male vulnerability and emotional openness through his book and podcast, both titled Man Enough. The claim is that Reynolds later began discussing similar themes in high-profile interviews, leading some observers to argue that he was borrowing from ideas Baldoni had already made central to his public platform. Critics interpreted the similarities as an attempt to absorb or dilute Baldoni's intellectual territory, while others viewed them as broader conversations that naturally overlap. There is no confirmed evidence that Reynolds deliberately copied Baldoni's work, but the perceived similarities have become another point of discussion in the wider controversy surrounding the two actors.
Everything that I've ever done that worked was because I loved it. Because I loved it. I wasn't going, women 18 to 34 are really going to like.
As the promotional tour for It Ends With Us became increasingly controversial, online speculation began suggesting that Ryan Reynolds attempted to influence how the public understood the growing backlash surrounding Blake Lively. One theory claims that Reynolds prepared a public statement that echoed the language and themes associated with Justin Baldoni's Man Enough platform, allegedly putting Baldoni in a position where he would have to respond publicly and potentially absorb responsibility for problems surrounding the film's promotion. According to this narrative, Baldoni refused to play along, including refusing to endorse certain rewritten scenes or participate in an apology that he did not agree with. Supporters of the theory interpret that refusal as the moment the conflict escalated, while others argue that the available evidence does not establish a coordinated campaign by Blake and Ryan. Either way, the disagreement became increasingly personal in the public imagination, transforming what began as a dispute over a movie into a much larger battle over reputation, creative control, and competing narratives in Hollywood.
I read most of that 168 or whatever page thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could see Justin being like, where the hell did this go wrong?
To really understand the controversy surrounding Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, it helps to look further back than It Ends With Us. While many people associate the dispute with events in 2023, online discussions often point to a simple favor as an earlier chapter in the story. That was when Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively first worked together, giving Kendrick first-hand experience of the professional dynamic between them. During interviews around the release of the film, Kendrick made several sarcastic and blunt comments about working with Lively. One widely circulated quote from a BuzzFeed interview has been interpreted by fans as a reference to tension on set, although the full context matters when assessing what Kendrick actually meant. The comments have since been revived online and connected to the much later Baldoni controversy, with some viewers arguing that Kendrick had already hinted at problems years earlier. Another detail that attracted attention was Kendrick's admission that she had muted Lively on Instagram. To some fans, that seemed unusual for two co-stars promoting the same movie, while others viewed it simply as Kendrick's personal approach to social media and celebrity friendships. Either way, these older interviews have taken on new significance online because people are now looking back at Kendrick's relationship with Lively through the lens of the much larger controversy that emerged years later.
There's a couple people that I have muted. Good. Yeah.
Muting a co-star during the promotional campaign for a major film might seem significant, but it doesn't necessarily prove that someone was completely exhausted by that person's behavior. Anna Kendrick's decision to mute Blake Lively on Instagram has been discussed repeatedly online, with some fans interpreting it as evidence of tension between the two. However, Kendrick's personal reasons for doing so were never established as proof of a deeper conflict. The same applies to their appearances together on red carpets and during press events. Viewers have analyzed their body language, pointing to moments when Kendrick appeared to create physical distance or seemed less comfortable standing beside Lively. While those moments can certainly fuel speculation, body language alone cannot establish what someone was privately thinking or feeling. Still, the combination of Kendrick's blunt interview comments, her social media choices, and the way fans have interpreted their public interactions has kept their relationship under intense scrutiny years after a simple favor was released.